Hi, I'm Xiangji. I'm a first year PhD student here at the track. Today, I'm going to present a research project that I'm currently working on with my colleagues, in which we are using the learning curve and naive Bayes classifier to decide when surgeons are ready to randomize. Here I just put the two photos of two of my main collaborators on this research. One is Dr. Fei Shan. He is a gastrointestinal cancer surgeon at the Peking University Cancer Hospital, a dear friend, colleague, and mentor of mine. And also Professor Peter McCulloch. He is a professor of surgical science in Nuffield Department of Surgical Science at the University of Oxford. Now let me just begin with the background. Randomized controlled trials are considered as the gold standard when we evaluate surgical treatments. However, surgeons' expertise may compromise the validity of conventional trials. This is known as expertise bias. So in this figure, we can see that in this hypothesized trial, we randomize patients to procedure A and procedure B. And even though the randomization may be appropriately conducted and the size of the trial is moderately large, if the majority of patients in the procedure A arm received the care from a surgeon who has expertise in this procedure. However, in procedure B, the majority of patients receiving the care from a surgeon who has no or very limited experience in this procedure, we may observe a difference in these two procedures in terms of the outcome, which is not caused by the procedure itself, but by the difference in the expertise in the surgeon. So that's a problem that kind of may not exist in the drug trials. And therefore, it is important for us to define the surgeon's credentials when we are doing a surgical trial. And one commonly way to do that is to pre-specify a case volume number. For instance, we may say that in the protocol, we write, in order to be eligible to participate in this trial, the surgeon needed to complete 30 procedures A and 30 procedures B before participation. However, this approach is arbitrary, and sometimes one size does not fit all, because maybe for one surgeon, completing 10 procedures is enough to reach the competency. However, for another surgeon, maybe it requires a larger, a number larger than that to be, very adequate with the procedure. So another way that's more individualized and more quantitative may be using the learning curve. Here I put a typical learning curve, which follows a negative exponential distribution. Of course, in the real world life, the learning curve is far less smooth. So this is just for the illustration purpose. And we can observe from this curve that at the beginning of the curve, there is this phase, what we call rapid learning curve, a learning stage, where the learning rate of the surgeon is rapid. As we can see, the instantaneous slope of this curve is high. And as the effort increases, the experience increases, the learning rate decreases, and it becomes approaching zero, where we say that we reach a plateau and that the learning curve is completed. So that kind of sounds fancy, but however, the usage of learning curve has been limited, and there may be several reasons for that. In traditional learning curve evaluation, we need a complete continuous case series data. By complete, I mean we need the data from the very first surgery performed by this surgeon to all of the cases until now. And the second limitation may be that it's learning curve, so it's one curve per one competency indicator. However, we could have many indicators in terms of the surgical competency. We could use operation time, bleeding volume, surgical complications, and etc. And in most cases, there is no ideal indicator for the surgical expertise. And if we use different indicators, we may get different change point at which we conclude that the surgeon reached the learning phase, completed the learning phase. And the third reason for the limited use is that there is a limited number of hands-on statistical packages available for researchers to implement the learning curve evaluation. Now let's talk a little bit about the naive Bayes classifier. It is a simple probabilistic classifier based on Bayes' theorem. So a probabilistic classifier is a classifier that assigns different probabilities to each class of the outcome. One advantage or strength of this classifier is that it only requires a very small number of training data to estimate the posterior probability. And I will show you later, but you will see that the mathematical equation of this classifier is kind of simple and neat. However, its classification accuracy is comparable to more complex algorithms according to previous research. Therefore, in the current study, we used the naive Bayes classifier to determine if a surgeon has completed the learning curve or not. We also demonstrate that the naive Bayes classifier can incorporate multiple competency indicators and can be used when only a segment of the data series is available. Sharissa, can you stop the